Good afternoon. I'm Major General Raymond Coffey, U.S. Volunteers Joint Services Command. I'm supporting Joshua Freed to be our next governor of the state of Washington because he's a man of integrity and understanding. He's a businessman. He's been in leadership, and he will follow and take this state to the next level where it needs to be.
I just believe that I have the most experience necessary to address the myriad of failures of our governor. Having served on Bothell City Council there for 12 years, having served as mayor, having run my own business for 15 years, having served overseas for 12 years in service. I served on the International Deaf Education Board. I served on Protect the Child Today board here. I've worked in mental health. Obviously, I served on the King County Mental Health Advisory Board. I ran Initiative 27 in King County, so I'm known here. I'm the lead sponsor, or co-sponsor, on Referendum 90 to end comprehensive sex education. I'm the lead contributor to Initiative 1114. So in all due respect to my opponents, they just simply do not have the experience necessary. To run the state is to run a Fortune 500 company or more.
And also the correct use of the military in the time of emergency.
To send our military professional to the streets of Seattle like Jay Inslee did recently with basically a feather in their hand to defend themselves is irresponsible, it's reckless, and he should be tossed out, obviously, for office for that very thing. To send our officers into harm's way without the ability to defend themselves is unforgivable. And, we could forgive them and then send them out of office. But
and the creativity that he has about bringing government into the different counties throughout the state so that they're still not far removed from the governor's ear anymore. So
when I become governor, I'm going to start what's called regional offices of the governor. One office in each of these regions with one representative. One in Central Washington, one in Eastern Washington, Northwest Washington, Southwest Washington, and I'm going to hold office hours there. What's important for me is to go in, hold office hours locations in all these different portions of the state, and then allow for people to come and give remote testimony.
Gratified to hear Joshua's stance on life and on our ability to live freely as citizens of Washington State, to make decisions for ourselves, to trust us to do that. And his values align with his faith and with that idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all of us, with all the different issues he talked about with the Second Amendment.
I am a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. Actually, I have an A rating from the NRA, and my wife and I enjoy those gun rights each and every day.
With homelessness, recovery work.
When I go to Olympia, I'm not going to take a salary. I'm going to donate it to a nonprofit homeless shelter, a drug rehab facility.
And I was super impressed with Josh, with his work ethic. Going from county to county really spoke to me.
In Olympia, unless you don't have a powerful lobbyist, you don't get a seat at the table. What I want to make sure is everyone has a seat at the table, and that's why I've gone to all 39 counties. I'm the only candidate that has done so, because you have to listen to the voice of the people.
My name is Daniel Condrey, and I'm really impressed with Joshua Freed. Who couldn't like a fellow SPU graduate? I love his heart of compassion, his plan for, helping people on the street and addiction and mental health.
I'll just say in James, it talks about how true religion is this, to care for widows and orphans in their distress, right? So we are called to care for people in the place that they are hurting. That's why my plan of restoration for people who are addicted to drugs and alcohol is not just to say, like Phil says, which is we need to incarcerate the criminally homeless. No, we actually need to enforce the laws, but the better choice that we want to give them is give them a pathways to recovery. That's true care and compassion. And to leave people on a pathway to suicide is not compassion. Letting them just say, hey, do whatever you want, live under tarps, surrounded by garbage and needles, it's the same thing that you would see, I'll do over here. Far left is garbage and needles. Far left is garbage and needles. Far right is we just want to incarcerate the criminally homeless. Well, the result is the same. People die.
What I liked about some of his remarks was, because I'm a teacher, and the sex education thing that they are trying to pass, I didn't like that at all. And his aspect on that was so truthful.
2:08 in the morning on the House floor this last session, they come and talk about comprehensive sex education. On the screen is the warning, content of explicit material from TVW. And that they pass it forward. 5- and 6-year-old kids are taught comprehensive sex education. Then the agenda moves on into let Planned Parenthood be the health provider in the middle schools, and let 13-year-old girls get an abortion without a parent knowing it. So that comprehensive sex education that was passed at 2 in the morning, the one time each one of you and everyone else in the state of Washington had to speak to it was at 8 a.m. Try getting there by Spokane. Try getting there from Omak, Washington.
When I first heard Josh talk, it was a few months ago, and definitely what resonated with me, school referendum, which I have 2 kids and my kids are homeschooled and I get no tax credit.
What I want is educational choice for parents. We're hearing from the other side that all of us are so unique, our kids can choose who or what they want to be. Well, if that's true, let the parents who know their kids the best choose the educational option that's best for them. So sometimes with vouchers, there's concern on both sides of the aisle because we don't want to send our money to Olympia and then with strings have that money sent to our private schools. What we rather have, and I want to have, is educational tax credit to be able to send money directly to the school of our choice or retain it for our own homeschool. So if you're spending $6,000 a year on property taxes, if $4,000 of it is going toward education, you get to retain $4,000 of that money and send it directly to the school without government control.
My name's Debbie Leidy, and I've been a fan of Joshua Freed for a while. The more time goes on, the more passionate I become of why we support him for governor. He's for our Second Amendment rights. He's for reopening Washington and supports every job as being essential. Every worker is essential, and we're all essential. There's not any special levels of importance.
As I've traveled around the state of Washington, I've met business owner after business owner that is shutting down their business never to open again. And then we have a governor who's saying this neighbor should call upon this neighbor if they're on their way to their non-essential job. We want you to report them to government, to take away their business license. We're going to fine them or even put them into prison. I think that's just simply wrong. It's a violation of our constitutional rights. You can't have Costco open, Target open, then tell the small box stores they can't be open because it's taking away potential profits from the folks that are operating the small box stores. I would say we need to be in phase 5 in the sense that we just need to reopen Washington State.
Number one priority for me is his faith in God, and it's very obvious that he's got a real strong relationship with the Lord.
Well, clearly the source of my courage is through God. I mean, Joshua 1:9, have I not commanded you to be bold and courageous? Do not be afraid or dismayed, for the Lord God is with you wherever you go. So I never hide that I'm a person of faith because actually 67% of people in Washington consider their relationship with God as something important to them. And that's something I think the Democrat Party tries to shame people of. Don't ever speak about your personal faith. Now, I'm a Christian, but there are people that are Muslims, there are people that are Jewish, there are other peoples that are Hindu, they have a different faith. And so the Republican Party often says, just stay silent, don't talk about that. They're missing the point that a lot of people want to be able to participate and practice in their faith. That's why look at what the origination of our country was. Why did people come here? Because they saw that the government was infringing on their ability to have freedom of religion.
And I came to this rally, get together, undecided, but I'm leaving here with a decision to vote for Joshua Freed.
I'm enthusiastically endorsing this candidate.
Joshua Freed, 2020, freedom, we vote for freedom in this primary and soon to be in the elections in November.
My wife and I, as an American patriot, not so much as a 2-star general, we're supporting Joshua Freed for governor of the state of Washington.